All right, we're going to move on now with Media Watch with James Creedon for a look at how some of the day's top news stories have been received online in other media. Hi there, James.
Hi, Catherine.
Now, we're going to start across the border in Belgium with some responses there to probably France's most controversial publication, Charlie Hebdo. Its latest edition, we talked about its front page yesterday. It sparks so much response, not just here, but in Belgium too.
That's right. And indeed, the family of Stromae has been apparently really upset by this front page. So just to show viewers again, the front cover of Charlie Hebdo that came out yesterday, indeed, all week it's been creating some controversy. Papa où tu es for Daddy, where are you?
Which is the name of... So this is Belgian singer-rapper Stromae. That was one of his biggest hits.
That's right. And he's a superstar in the French-speaking world and even beyond. And so essentially what you see there is a dismembered body behind. Now, what his family have been saying, and what a lot of French media have been picking up on in Belgian media is, did Charlie Hebdo know that Stromae's father... was killed by Hutu rebels during the Rwandan genocide and actually caught up by a machete. This is actually very close to what happened to his father. So if that is the case, if Charlie Hebdo did know about it, it is extraordinarily insensitive. If they didn't know about it, I suppose it's another reason for them to maybe have a think about the taste and tone of some of their cartoons, which is very black humour and frequently and sometimes perhaps just below the belt, really. And it always comes back to this, of course, debate about shouldn't they be allowed to do that, freedom of expression, etc., but doesn't mean that it's always very well received. In any case, the Belgian Twitter sphere has been putting up some of the responses of Belgians to the controversy because there was a degree of, I think, upset, really. Here on the right, you have... Daddy, where are you? Was the speech bubble they gave to... Stromae, and there you have, where is Charlie? That is the French language equivalent of where is Waldo? So I think it was a case of, right back at you, Charlie. All very dark stuff. Maybe it's time to move on.
It's a clever response, isn't it?
It is a clever response.
I've heard a lot of people debating this front cover and saying, no, I think they were trying to make this message, that message. But maybe we should say if a joke really needs that much explanation,
right?
Maybe it's not really a joke, and maybe Charlie Hebdo should think a little bit more about what they're doing. Anyway, let's move on to another publication, a book this time. We don't always talk about books, do we? Alain Juppé, a former Prime Minister, he's publishing a new book next month. It has a book about him, sorry. It's got some unflattering quotes from his ex-wife.
That's right. So this in the long tradition of French kiss and tells amongst politicians.
So much kissing, so much telling.
We all remember Valérie Trierweiler's famous kiss and tell last year. Yeah. Thank you for this moment. Well, now there's a book emerging next month. It's not written by his ex-wife, but she's interviewed extensively in it, as are two of his daughters. Now, what they come out with is really unflattering for the front runner. In fact, he's actually much higher up in the polls than Nicolas Sarkozy to get the presidential nomination for the political right in France for the next year's election. His ex-wife, said in the book. That he has a problem with loving. He cannot love. He doesn't know how to love, basically. There you have it in the headline. Alain Juppé doesn't know how to love. And
it's quite sad.
It is a little bit sad.
I feel quite sorry for
now,
him.
You could perhaps understand a certain amount of, a strife between exes, but actually his daughters were also interviewed in this book, and one of them, Marion, said that she doesn't ever remember him expressing love or feelings, which he also never spoke about. And I have the impression that I never got any affection from him when I was a child. So I'm wondering, does she want her father to be president at all? Because it's pretty
the people behind this book want him to be president. That's probably not the case.
That's right. So he's doing well in the polls, but that book will probably be a little bit of a setback for him because coming from some of his nearest and dearest, the quotes are not very pleasant.
Meanwhile, Nicolas Sarkozy, what he would say about them.
Indeed, probably equally negative. Meanwhile, and we won't go into this because it's a bit boring, Nicolas Sarkozy has launched a LinkedIn account. So that also it's just a little brief detail in the world of French politics.
Do you know Nicolas? Lots of people clicking connect.
That's right, and he's apparently influential, according to his profile.
I think that's probably true. All right, finally, just an embarrassing tweet by the US State Department that set off a Twitter storm, very briefly.
That's right. Okay, US State Department asks, are you sure you're hot enough to be chatted up at a bar? Now, this was to warn spring break tourists who are traveling outside of the US that if they're not chatted up in bars in the US, then they should be careful if they are being chatted up abroad because it might be a scam. But it was rather awkwardly expressed, and it did lead to a kind of an avalanche of tweets saying, "Hey, at TravelGov, this is a Twitter handle of the US State Department, just sent you an email. My Facebook is," and you have the link, "can you rate me on a scale of 1 to 10? It's for a story," because they said basically if you're not a 10 in the US, you're not a 10 overseas. Kids, TravelGov is trying to tell you that you could get assaulted somewhere if you're an Uggo. If you're a 10, you're good to go, however. What else do we have? I'm a 6.2 in the US, but due to metric conversion, I'm actually a 10 abroad. Do Americans gag when they see your face? Then Europeans will too. You're hopeless. Love the US State Department. As you can see, they didn't get the best response to that and subsequently apologised. A good old Twitter storm.
We love a Twitter storm. Thank you very much. James Creedon
Thanks, Catherine.
with Media Watch.